out of this sense of, because the Islamic world has lost much of its intellectual, we don't really know our intellectual. We don't know who we are anymore, unfortunately. And we've adopted modernistic kind of ideologies, and we don't know, for example, who Ibn Sina was. From Ibn Sina we take the medicine, but we don't take his thoughts. So we've stopped thinking. Islamic philosophy kind of died with Mullah Sadra in Iran. And it didn't, there are people there, like Professor Nasser in America, there are people there in Iran, the philosophers are there in Qom. In the Sunni world, it's a little bit tricky, because we've kind of stopped thinking, unfortunately. What I'm relating it to this, which is very important, your question. You have to remind me again, forgive me. I woke up very early, brother. I've done many interviews and I've lost track. What was your question?
The question was about spirituality.
Yes. And the reason why I mentioned those things is because, as the mystics taught, that ultimately there is one truth, one reality. La ilaha illallah. It's not only that there's no God but God. La ilaha illallah, on a deeper level, means that there's no reality save reality. There's only one reality. In Hinduism, this Vedanta, they call it Atma, which is ultimate reality. And in different religions and different faiths, this reality is given different names. But at the end, it's the same reality. And we have to, as Muslims, we have a very important role to play, because although Islam is the youngest religion, it's the only religion that accepts all the other religions.
That's true.
No other. Christianity will not accept Judaism. At a sentimental level it will. Oh, we're brothers, let's hold hands. But not really intellectually. It cannot. And Islam and Christianity cannot accept Islam.
I think a lot of non-Muslims actually are unaware of the position that Islam holds with other
Islam
religions.
is the only religion that does not deny what came before it. It does not. This is very important. Those idols that the Quran talks about are not the idols, the avatars, let's say, for example, in Hinduism, or certain aspects of other religions, in Buddhism, for example. It's not the same. It's talking about something else. Because, and this is very complicated and tricky, and many Muslims find this controversial. But we have to have so much faith in ourselves and confidence to believe in our religion whilst accepting the validity of other religions. When we can get to that stage, that means we are confident in ourselves. Unfortunately, people have belief, they make them feel comfortable by saying everybody else is wrong and I'm right. It makes them feel good. Everyone has to be wrong. All the religions are wrong. Only I'm. That isn't a godly thing. That God that we talk about, Allah, 99 names, to create only one path to reach Him, is a very arrogant way to look at that. It's shirk. You've made a God in your head. Because it goes against the way of the mystics. It goes against of the great awliya. It goes against the normative tradition of Islam. And what I'm telling you, within, of course, religion is controversial. There's been discussions about it. No, blah. It's always been like that. But I believe we're living in a time where we need to be so faithful in ourselves, in our own, so comfortable in our own faith, that we also, not at a sentimental level, intellectually accept the orthodoxy of the major traditions of the world. Why they are different, we don't know. But this is part of God's mercy. The multiplicity is from God's mercy.
There's always difference in opinion in Islam too as well, and there's blessings in the difference of opinion.
Absolutely.
The same with your music. When some scholars would disagree with obviously your position of music. Some say that a duff is allowed. Some say that instruments are not allowed. Some say instruments are fine if it takes you to the love of the Prophet. So there is a difference of opinion. Yeah,
and also these discussions are fairly new, to be honest with you. Even the word nasheed, traditionally was a Sufi term used. It was used in Sufi terms because nasheed is sung by a munshid in a tariqah. He would sing sacred music. Nowadays, in the 1970s, it became connected to, unfortunately, jihadi songs. And that's why I distanced myself from that term. because nasheed today is more about, unfortunately, though it's evolved, but it's more about, a tool. It's a tool to get people, mobilize people to do something. And I distance myself from that. And also, the whole discussion about music, this would not have taken place in Khorasan in the 12th century. This would not have taken place. This is because we have lost our heritage. Music, if you think about it, the guitar came from the oud. The guitar is an evolution of the oud. Rumi, Maulana Jalaluddin Balkhi, he used to play the ney. But the difference is, the music that our tradition has is sacred music. It's not worldly music. It's not for entertainment to get up and dancing in a Pakistani wedding, for example. Difficult, but you know what I mean.
We sing a lot of them now, right?
You know what I mean. It's not that kind of music. It's not a world, lahu lahab, like play, lu'ba. It's sacred music connecting you to the sacred. All the traditions have this. Even in Christianity, pre-modern times, I challenge you to find a single song that is not in some way connected to the sacred. Seriously. Even the secular music was inspired by, divine inspiration. It was always connected to higher things. So these are fairly new arguments, because we're living in a difficult time. Ruthless, unfortunately, superficiality, ignorance, lack of knowledge, and authenticity, and looking for a comfort zone. Many of these people who say these things, we know where they're from. They're usually inspired. They're either from a certain area or they're inspired by that area. And it does not represent the normative. How do you explain in India you have Carnatic music and Hindustani music? The Hindustani music was developed by Muslims. Every other musician is a Khan. Bismillah Khan, Ustad Abu Bakr Khan, everyone's a Khan. They're all Muslims. Where does the ghazal come from? Where does the qawwali come from?
That's true.
Where does Persian classical music come from? Where does the Sufi songs in Sayyid Darwish, Naqshbandi of Egypt, and in Syria, Bilad al-Sham? Where are all these? Where does it all come? Where does Andalusia? I have a song in this new album, The Center, called The Key. It's an old Andalusian song from 800 years ago, 900 years ago, composed by a Persian man called Ziryab. And it's a love song in Arabic, but of course it's a divine love song, because the female is always in Sufi culture, it's traditional culture, wine, intoxication, and women were always symbols of something higher. They symbolize. Symbology is very important again in religion. If you take symbols out, it's very complicated. You have opened up a can of we have what we have today. Because of lack of understanding of symbols, what they mean. Not metaphor, but symbols, the difference. But yes, brother. Sorry for that long answer.
No, that's fine. That's mashallah. It's good to listen to that. What's your motto or advice that you live by?
Be comfortable with who you are. Try to connect with that eternal I. Because whenever you say I, whenever I say I, I'm changing. I'm changing all the time. And it's important to find that eternal I, to connect with that I that was once, before the fall of man, to earth, in this world, this exile that we're in, this world. Try to connect with that I, that pact we made. Nafasul Rahman, the breath of the merciful of God was into us, it's being put into us. And it's not easy, peer pressure, culture, political correctness, trying to be cool, say the right thing so you don't upset somebody, trying to fit in. It's not easy. And that's why we have to be merciful to one another, because we're not living in the time of the Prophet. We're living in very difficult times. And based on prophetic sayings, it's not supposed to get better. It's supposed to get worse. So those who are trying to take us back to the 2nd century, 1st century, they're going against the Prophet's teachings. Totally against it. They were also prophesied that these people will one day come. This very barbaric kind of scary.
it's unfortunate though that the minority, that like they always say, it takes one to ruin a party, right? It's the same case here as well. You got a very small minority group that's taking the center stage of Islam. They've actually hijacked the religion and showcased it as if this is the religion, this is the belief.
Yeah, but also the West focused on that, and I'm sorry to say, there is a anti-Islam current that goes back to the Enlightenment. It's existed for a long time. This isn't new. And there's a reason, there's a logical explanation as well. Islam went to Vienna. Muslims went to Vienna. They came to mainland Europe. They were scared. It's understandable. And traditionally, Christianity, although the mystics were on some level, they could see beyond these things. But unfortunately, Christianity viewed Islam as a sect. It's a Christian sect because it's very close. The Catholic Church generally viewed Islam as a heretic sect. And during the Enlightenment, which is an anti-Christian, anti-religious phase, they changed a lot of Arabic words. A lot of Arabic words were changed, like some to the Latin equivalents. Some words could not be changed, like cotton, which means cotton, alcohol, kimia, which means chemistry, algebra. But those that they were able to change, they did. And there's a 1,000 years of amnesia. In school, you're taught about the ancient Greeks, Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates, and then Marx. So what happened to 1,500 years? Oh, it was the Dark Ages.